Today I'm going to be working on this, which is to organize the air supply for the air knife on my camera. I recently decided I wanted to do some organizing here. This is a low pressure regulator. It goes from 0 to 25 psi that I use for the air knife on the camera that I have inside the enclosure. And then this is the shut-off valve, so I can turn it on and turn it off. And these are just sitting there. And it occurred to me recently that I can create a 3D printed part with some magnets, at least I think I can, that will sit here and organize this nicely. So I'm going to head to the computer and start working on that, and we'll come back when I have something ready. Typically when I start with something like this, I want to start with the parts and then figure out what the placement is going to be between the different parts. Here you can see I have the regulator that I imported from McMaster, and you can see it even has the labels on the bottom that says the pressure range is 0 to 25 psi, which is the exact one that I have. The regulator itself did not come with a nut to hold this in place, but I found that there is a nut on McMaster car, so I downloaded that nut as well. And this will give me an idea of how thick the mounting can be with the nut fully engaged with all the threads. Next, I started to model the valve itself, and I'm going to isolate this, and I'm going to fast forward. I went through many more steps and added a lot more detail than I really needed. So if we look at the final design here that I implemented, the goal of this is to be able to subtract this from a section of the mount to effectively create a cavity that will hold this in place. And so the cavity, I want it to come up to about here, so it's not, basically it's covering, some of this distance from here. And to fit in there, therefore, it's important that I model from about there to about there. It's not important that I model these areas here. In fact, it probably makes it a little bit harder later on if I did model those. But I modeled them anyway. I also modeled the hole in here, the push valves, the push to connect fittings, the actual handle that you turn, etc. As I say, most of these are things that I really didn't need to model. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit because the next thing that I did is to move this over, and I should also un-isolate this so you can see what I'm doing. And so I did the positioning using a joint, and here you'll see that I set the X offset, which is, I think this one's there, and I set basically all of the offsets to position this roughly where I wanted it to be. I'll undo that. And the idea is that there are some push to connect fittings here that come out, and therefore the hose is going to come out and then have to go up here. I jumped forward to get to the interesting part, which is where I've basically modeled this bracket. And now what I want to do is to create a cavity here. So if I hide the ball valve, you can see I have the cavity. And this is one of the things that I mentioned before. This is showing the ridge in between these two things. That really isn't something that I needed to model because it's not something I really care about. It's going to be constrained enough just by having these empty slots here. Now, if I just left it this way, the fit would probably be too tight. So I usually like to have the faces, etc., offset a little bit. And there are a couple of different ways I could have done that. One, if I turn this back on, so I didn't want to do that, un-isolate, is to change the size of this. Basically, if I change the size in this direction as well as this direction here, that would make the opening larger. But the other thing is I also want to move these walls out a little bit so that it's not as tight a fit there either. And so the approach that I'm using instead is the offset face. So if I click here, for example, as well as there, by holding down the control key and there, then I can offset this by, say, as much as I want. And I'm going to use minus 0.3. So that has made all of those surfaces a little bit looser than before by minus 0.3. Now I've already done that, so that's what these operations are down here. So this is the first one. You can see it opened up this area. The next one is what we just did, where I'm opening all of these walls here. And then you can see that I'm getting rid of these here. If you watch right there, as I click forward, you can see that that ridge goes away. And then I moved these walls in and out. So this gives me a looser fitting. And then the last thing that I did, well, I did quite a few more things, is to add some slots for the zip ties. So the zip ties will go through here and that will hold the ball valve in place. So this is the completed part. There are a couple things I should also mention, which is that these are slots for 10 millimeter by 10 millimeter magnets. And I showed this in a previous video. I have a hole here in the bottom so that if for some reason I want to recover the magnets because I discovered that this doesn't work very well and I want to reprint it, I can just push the magnets out from the bottom. This right here, this bottom area, is only 0.2 millimeters thick, which is the layer height that I'm using. So I just have one 3D printed layer in between the magnet and the metal, and that's not much of a distance, so the magnet is still quite performant. Okay, here's everything I need to assemble this. These are the magnets that I mentioned. They're 10 millimeters in diameter and 10 millimeters long. And so I will open these up. This is not a full pack. This is what I have left in this pack, which is just the right amount. And so I'm going to grab one of these at a time and then push it in. And so it's somewhat tight, which is fine. But as you can see, I can push it in, well, mostly with my fingers. That one was a little bit tighter. If I need to push it in a little bit more, I can easily do that though. Okay, that one seems like it's a little bit proud. I'll probably use a tool later on to push these in a little bit more. And next time I think I might print these so that they're not quite so tight, because this last one definitely seems too tight. Well, I'll work on that, and hopefully it won't take too much effort before I can get that in there. So I have this one trick. I'm going to use this to give me a little bit more force, so you can see that starting in. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get some pliers or something else to get that in all the way. But until we do that, the next thing is I need to pull this cap off. And it just takes a little bit of fiddling. I don't know if there's a trick to it. I'm going to come back once I have it off. Of course, I just had to get better leverage on it. Now that it's off, I can use this nut. Now this is, as you can probably tell by the surface, just a 3D printed version. I increased the size of it by about 0.3 millimeters in the X and Y direction, but kept the Z this way the same so that I wouldn't affect the thread pitch. And the reason I 3D printed this, by the way, is not because this part was expensive. It's actually because the shipping was really expensive. So the part itself is quite affordable, but this will be fine for now. The next thing I want to do is to mount this in place, and it's a little hard to tell, but on this side there is a rectangular space for the rectangular part over here. So this actually fits better in this way. You can see it's not loose, it's a nice fit, than it does in this way. It kind of fits in this way, but this is the way it's meant to be put in there. All right, then I have the zip ties that will hold it firmly in place. And then I have this nice tool here for, let me do it this way. Basically, it pulls it tight and then cuts it so that I don't have to cut it later on. So it's a really nice tool. Then I can put this back on. Okay, now when it's all the way down, it's locked, and then you pull it up and now you can adjust it. So as soon as I get these pushed down a little bit more, or some of them, then I will go to the shop and I'm going to cut a little piece of air tube to go from there to there, and it'll be ready to mount. I cut a piece of tubing to what looked like about the right length, and so that this will go from there to there. Okay, now it's all set to put on the machine and put to work. Now, one of the things I did is I put a depression here that will fit over this screw so that I can have this nicely lined up there. And as you can see, once I put it here, I can turn this quite nicely. So then the next thing to do is to hook up the air lines. So I have one air line coming in here. Let me rotate that. And then the other air line comes down here. So I've turned on the air supply, so now if I rotate this, you can see I can easily adjust the pressure. And here I'm setting it to 10 psi, which is what I normally use for my air blade. And then I can just open this, and you may be able to hear the sound of the air escaping. And that's coming out of the air blade. So that is much neater than I had before. I'm going to zoom you out and give you an idea of what I'm going to work on next. I'm really happy with how this has turned out, but now I need to do something about this organization, which will be in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.